A young man named Hajime Goto has moved to a new neighborhood and brings gifts to his next-door neighbor. My middle-aged woman is delighted to receive an exotic cheesecake from a fancy company named Etoile, and is surprised that the humble-looking lad can actually afford it. He was taken aback by its immense popularity as he checked out the snake-like queues, quite unlike the local store in his area. Bro just wanted dessert, now he's stuck in a gourmet horror movie. The gracious lady offers to show him around, but suddenly a car pulls in. Firstly, a lady comes out, bows frantically in front of another one whom she addresses as manager, and then apologizes for being late. The drop-dead manager aloofly assures her that she will be heading to the main office after she takes a nap. Nap first, world domination later. Priorities. Hajime's eyes widen in bewilderment as he checks out her symmetrical face and stylish elegance. According to him, she can be easily taken as a TV actress. The middle-aged woman assumes that her niece Asami Kuroki is very much caught up. Netflix just lost a lead actress to real life. Asami wonders whether she is about to show the new tenant around. Auntie suddenly remembers and introduces Hajime to her as their new neighbor and college student. He is very pleased to meet a beautiful woman like Asami, but is thunderstruck to know that he will be living next to her. Congrats, bro, you just unlocked the Hot Neighbor DLC. He quickly grabs the cheesecake box from Auntie's arms and nervously presents it to Asami. But the stoic girl is not impressed since she worked in Etoile. Still, she accepts the cheesecake from a nervous wreck Hajime, who is still in a state of disbelief that such an amazing person is his neighbor. Auntie especially mentions that his monthly rent will be 30,000 yen and he can stay there for as long as he likes. Hajime is bombarded with explosives one after another, as 30,000 is quite less compared to the pricey accommodations in Tokyo. Low rent, high drama. Tokyo, baby. A few days later, a contented Hajime comes out of the university, finding it quite lavish, so he got roasted by the cheesecake queen. On reaching home, he checks the mailbox and finds a letter. He guesses that it might be from his mother. A special package is accompanying it as well, and to his delight, it contains his personally grown tomatoes that have been finely harvested. Tomatoes so fresh, they probably have birth certificates. Next, he replies to the letter, assuring his parents of his well-being as his college is full of nice people. He cannot help but mention the mature and hot Asami-san, his next-door neighbor. As he steps forward, he is taken by surprise when he finds a woman lying in the middle of the corridor. Ah, yes, casual hallway naps, totally normal. On a closer look, it is revealed that the woman is none other than Asami Kuroki, all banged up and semi-conscious. He suddenly recalls how shocked he was when he learned that about her amazing work. At present, he frantically tries to awaken Kuroki-san, wondering about her well-being. He anxiously notices that she is drenched. He pinches his nose at the stench of alcohol coming from her, and possibly she is soaked in rainwater. He feels sorry for the elegant city lady to be in such a questionable state. Elegance.x has crashed. Rebooting, he urges her to wake up and sleep on her bed. But she keeps on babbling nonsense. He quickly spots keys sticking out from her half-open purse and thinks that he has no choice but to barge into her room uninvited. Mission: Home Rescue, Drunk Edition. As he opens the door, he is fascinated to see an adult's room, just like a drama set up on TV, and even has a mesmerizing fragrance. He helps her to bed, but as she unconsciously topples over her back, her clothes slightly slide up, revealing her skin, dripping wet. He is struck by a bolt of lightning to see her so vulnerable and guesses that such displays might be usual in Tokyo. Tokyo, where drama is free and awkward is extra. He quickly regains his faltering senses and flees in sheer hysteria. He nervously advises her to take a bath once she is normalized. To his great shock, she maniacally springs up, grabs his leg and wails, declaring that she doesn't want to bathe. Bro tried to suggest hygiene and triggered a boss battle. Next, she hides her face in her palms and screams out her refusal to shower. An astounded boy wonders, due to her strange reaction, whether baths in cities consume people. Next, he instructs her that she can always wipe herself down. This ain't hygiene advice, it's a survival guide now, but it seems that the girl is too wasted to even listen to him. Out of the blue, she insanely addresses him as Four Eyes and questions him about the box he is holding. He replies that the box has greenhouse tomatoes that his mom sent him. Tomatoes, the real reason for this emotional breakdown. Her face distorts in sarcasm, and then she hysterically starts hitting him, claiming that all men have a mother complex. To his horror, she roughly tears open the box, threatening to destroy the contents inside. She pulls out some tomatoes but then breaks down after tasting them, wailing about their amazing taste. From rage to rave reviews in 0.2 seconds. For a moment he is flattered and begins yapping about the tremendous effort he has put in from the beginning. But then he gets concerned about her bizarre behavior and offers to listen to her woes. She pours out her heart that earlier she was having a drink and thought they both were vibing. "We were vibing," famous last words before chaos. Although he seemed ordinary and humble, he was very warm. After some time, she decided to give him a surprise on his birthday by visiting his apartment with a present. As she rang the bell, no one answered, but she could clearly hear some sounds coming from inside. Spoiler alert, those sounds were not birthday balloons. Thinking that he might be busy, she decided to hang the bag on the door handle, but the door was unlocked and it opened easily. She was struck by a 10,000-volt electric shock by the creepy scene before her. The guy was completely in his birthing suit and was graciously given a bath by his own mother. Surprise. Trauma with a splash of soap. She was completely disgusted by the thought that a 30-year-old man bathed with his mother, and even Hajime was taken aback by that weird revelation. Before he can react, she has already started sobbing hysterically, proclaiming that she doesn't want to be with a man who prioritizes his mother more than her. He sighs in sheer pity on learning the reason behind her getting drunk and then getting soaked in the rain. He is slightly disappointed because he always thought of her as a perfect lady. But in reality, she cannot be left alone. When she looks at him with her deadly pools, all filled up, he nervously assures her that she will be fine. He reminds her that she is gorgeous and highly employed, so soon she will find someone worthy of her. Job? Check. Looks? Check. Stability? Error 404. To his alarm, she hysterically reaches out to and then touches his chest. The poor lad jumps out of his skin in sheer fright, but she already grabs him and then throws up all over him, indicating her nauseous state. A terrified Hajime quickly looks around for a clean cloth and agitatedly urges her not to doze off yet. When romance turns into laundry day real quick, the next morning, Hajime is taking out the trash and is still very exhausted from his last night's endeavors. Out of the blue, Kuroki-san appears and orders him coldly to stay out of her way. He is surprised to see her indifferent attitude as if nothing bizarre had happened, although last night she was a mess. The girl hit the reset button like nothing happened. Boss move. When she looks at him, puzzled, a jittery Hajime explains that she doesn't seem to have a hangover and reminds her about her queasy state last night. Plot twist. Her memory is on vacation. He casually informs her that he also cleaned the dirty rug and asks whether it is thoroughly cleaned. Her quizzical expression makes him wonder whether she is completely blank about the disastrous last night. She completely freaks out and then abruptly flees the scene, throwing out a loud apology. He calls out to her and regrets being such a blabbermouth. Suddenly, an amused landlady appears, guessing that he took care of Asami last night. Auntie here is more concerned about her niece's love life rather than her own retirement plan. When he expresses his curiosity, she reveals that usually Asami is a nice person, but she is a hopeless drunkard who usually has no memories of the mess she creates. Auntie is also helpless because she is too frail to take care of herself. Auntie claims that Asami has a strong sense of responsibility and has been waiting for a virtuous man. Plot goal unlocked. Become the tomato knight she needs. A delighted Hajime now understands the reasonable rent of the apartment, as all Auntie wants him to do is to take care of Asami. Congrats, bro. You didn't rent a room. You adopted chaos. Hajime is relieved as finally he managed to settle his things in the apartment, but he still hasn't fully gotten accustomed to being a city dweller. He knows that being a country bumpkin is a part of his personality. Since he was the only son of a farmer, he grew up with vegetables, and in his previous years he worked in fields after school and on weekends. Bro's besties were tomatoes. He unconsciously compares his life with Asami's, thinking that her lifestyle is quite modern. He recalls how it has a sofa and a bed. His mind drifts away to the scene where the near-bare sultry queen was lying unconscious, and instantly he bangs his head on the table in sheer frustration, trying to shrug off those annoying thoughts. Brain, no thoughts. Hormones, try me. Still, he cannot help but observe that she was quite composed during the day, but got out of control when boozed up. He still cannot believe that a guy like him, who is kinda shaky in front of ladies, has been assigned to take care of Asami. So when Auntie had made that strange request, he freaked out and asked her to spare him some moments of thought. Me too, bro, I panic when pizza arrives early. At present, he realizes that he should have just refused her, but in a corner of his mind, the reasonable rent of 30,000 yen is also giving him pangs of encouragement. His boggled mind is interrupted by a doorbell. He is surprised to see Asami at the door, who addresses him as Gato-kun. The lad flips over one being called kun by her, but is fully blown over when she gracefully bows in front of him and apologizes. Getting called kun by a queen? Instant brain shutdown. He is astonished at her bowing so low because earlier she portrayed that she didn't remember anything about that fateful night. She explains that she somehow figured it out from the mess in the room. She solved the case like Sherlock with hangover powers. Next, she presents him with a token of apology, which he refuses frantically. He abashedly declares that he has taken the responsibility of being her caretaker, and then apologizes for entering her room without permission. But Asami is embarrassed and regrets getting drunk despite being a mature woman and causing trouble for a youngster. Mature on paper, trouble in reality. She promises that she won't act irresponsibly ever again. She hands him the present and then leaves. Once inside his room, he curiously unbags the present, wondering whether he has been relieved from his duty of being her caretaker. Plot twist: it's an edible bride. To his amazement, the most delicious-looking eclair comes out from the bag, something that he has never seen before. He once again acknowledges her goodness. Later, when he's done cleaning the house, he decides to buy something for dinner. Mood: rewarded by sugar, confused by feelings. But as he walks outside the door, another creepy shock is waiting for him. To his horror, several horrible-looking napkin puppets are hanging down the corridor railing. He is thunderstruck to find that Kuroki-san is making those puppets, maniacally declaring her determination not to let those puppets go. Is this a breakup ritual or kindergarten craft class? Next, she sits in the middle of some burning candles, holds one napkin puppet, and announces a rain forecast for the next day. A shocked Hajime is puzzled about the bizarre ritual she is performing. Hesitantly, he calls out to her, but is responded to by a spray of careless giggles. Help! She summoned the weather gods with tissue paper. With a spine-chilling smirk, she turns to him, flips his hoodie on his head, and blurts out some drunken gibberish. She even dreamily addresses a horrified Hajime, a huge teru-teru bozu, or a napkin puppet. He is about to have a heart attack when she comes dangerously close to his face, but then suddenly she tightens the noose of his hood around his face, covering it completely, thankfully leaving out his nose to breathe. Bro's hoodie turned into a cult costume. Triumphantly, she declares her creation perfect, while he frets over her nonsensical act. Quite insanely, she instructs him to stand on his head for a second, just like the hanging napkin puppets. She really said become the puppet. She is completely taken aback when he attacks her by his remark about whether she has been drinking again. Predictably, she makes dramatic poses and stoops down on the floor, crying bitterly. She regrets her actions since she has already apologized to him before and thinks of herself as a good-for-nothing adult. This is an Oscar-worthy meltdown. Out of the blue, she springs up on him hysterically, claiming that there lies a deep meaning in her eccentric actions. She explains that the next day, her junior colleague, Azato-san, is having a Buddhist memorial service. Since she took emergency leave, Asami is left with no option but to take over her duties as well. Corporate betrayal plus fake leave equals anime-level drama. However, a shocking revelation shook her when on social media, Azato posted pictures with her boyfriend on her date in Mouseland. With that, Asami sobs uncontrollably at being deceived, as the next day she will be unfairly working 7 straight shifts. To his immense discomfort, she unconsciously places her head between his legs, wailing loudly. Everything around dreams, ready flag. She proclaims that she would have forgiven Azato if she had been honest with her. Asami is heartbroken, thinking that people take advantage of her single status. Hajime feels sorry for her, but her babbling continues about why marriage and children only make a woman happy, and an independent woman who contributes to society has no worth. And boom, we enter the nature-defying arc. Hajime barges in, excitedly assuring her that he always considers her hardworking and cool. She looks into his eyes, with rivers flowing from hers, and declares that she doesn't want to be a hardworking machine. Alcohol has mixed up her feelings and messed up her life for sure. She places her head on his lap and blurts out that even she wants to get married, and then, without any warning, she dozes off. Poor Hajime is in hot water again since he has to get her to her room again, even though he doesn't want to be her caretaker again. As he helps her inside, he cannot help but notice her curvy body, but he quickly shrugs off those questionable thoughts, respectfully struggling not to simp. He quickly tucks her in bed and decides to leave immediately. Suddenly, he sees an ID card lying on the floor and assumes that it belongs to Asami. He quickly picks it up and notices the stern expression on her photo. Photo says, "I will fire you and steal your soul." He quickly checks out her designation, which is sales department manager, and thinks that she is kinda cool. Like a bolt from the blue, she calls out to him as 4 eyes, followed by a deep snore. He turns around and looks at her affectionately, thinking that even a hard-working Asami can look so angelic while sleeping. Snores like a chainsaw, sleeps like a fairy. He feels that he is not eligible to be her caretaker, but realizes that alcohol isn't that bad, as it can make one look so innocent in their sleep. Hajime's classes are about to begin next week, so he goes out to buy textbooks over his break. However, he is a little distressed about them being expensive. Suddenly, he spots Kuroki-san and he notices that she looks amazing in jeans. Hajime's thinking, am I in a manga or is this real life? He is curious about her being on break as well. He is surprised to see her rummaging through books, and then afterwards helps her carry a heavy load of books to her place. She apologizes for the extra load, but he assures her that it is his specialty due to working in the fields. He's like, who needs a gym membership when you have a book load? When she appears puzzled, he clarifies that he is a farmer. Next, he helps her place the books in their appropriate space and figures that she must be a real book lover. Now he has one more reason to take her as his role model. Hajime's like, I should probably read more, for the role model vibes. Soon he gets absorbed in his studies and while doing so, dozes off, only to be abruptly awakened by the doorbell. Asami calls out to him, and he literally springs up in sheer hysteria. His heart's like, dude, why does my life feel like a roller coaster? Frantically, a disturbing thought crosses his mind about her being banged up again. Next follows a bizarre instruction from her side for him to wear a white shirt and black pants. Hajime's brain's like, this isn't a horror movie, right? She urges him to hurry up, and the high-strung lad feels as if she is directly whispering in his ears. He freaks out, realizing that she is actually drunk since she is talking in her Kansai accent. When life gives you Kansai, you get a mini heart attack. He decides to go as soon as possible since she is rattling a lot. He is quickly losing it since he can detect a disaster approaching him. When he comes out, he can see that she is clearly intoxicated as she is exuberant to see him. Poor Hajime is hoping it's all a dream. However, the most striking thing is that she is dressed up in a school uniform. But she proudly adjusts her bow tie and inquires about her appearance. Hajime's like, did I sign up for a cosplay convention? She confidently displays her knee-length skirt, a cardigan, and even points at her very tight blouse. She tries to probe him about her looking attractive. The skittish boy clasps his mouth and looks away since he is very much drawn to her curvy charms. The poor guy is not ready for this level of confidence. She is curious about his non-responsive behavior, and then makes a wild guess that he probably fancies miniskirts more. He pretends to be a statue for now. He quickly denies and questions her about wearing a uniform. She explains that she bought a lot of shoujo manga when she got drunk the last time, and then it strikes him that the books she bought last time were all comics. She continues that day she had an off, so the whole day she spent drinking alcohol and reading comics. Normal, unless your idea of normal involves drunken cosplay. He is relieved that, at least this time, she isn't wailing about something and just had a normal drinking routine. She guesses that he has been a high school student, so she particularly wants him to portray a comic book character. Hajime yells in sheer distress as he can picture a bizarre intimate scene between them. He frantically refuses to be a part of some creepy role play. This is getting weirder than his last dream. Now he realized why she wanted him to dress in white and black. He screams in dismay, refusing to do weird role plays that are not even reality-based. And here he thought wearing a uniform would be the least of his problems. She chides him for giving up so quickly and declares that the time has come to reclaim their youth. Poor Hajime is baffled. She observes him closely and realizes that he has too many country genes. Turns out he's more farm fresh than cool urban chic. She even points at his naturally curly hair, one of many indications of being a country bumpkin. As he stoops on the floor wailing in dismay, she assures him that she can fix his problem. Fixing him? Or fixing your wild plans? Soon, she scoops out a huge glob of hair wax and smears it messily on his hair. The miserable lad can actually feel his hair gather at the scalp. He feels like a human sculpture, minus the art part. Next, she experiments with his eyes, beginning with an eyelash curler that appears too intimidating to him. After quite a toil, she manages to carve an effeminate version of him, with well-defined eyes and juicy lips. I am sure he is not ready for this level of glam. She claims that he looks like one of the popular drama characters. She is determined to take a picture with him, but all the hapless guy wants is to wash the paint off his face. If selfies were a crime, I'd be the first to plead guilty. Then she suggests an indecent pose, but he refuses to be a scapegoat any further and decides to go home since things are getting out of hand from a normal high school rom-com. How did he get stuck in a script he never auditioned for? But she insists that he has to play the snobbish guy, but he refuses flatly to her face. Also, he points out that his face has already started to flush. He is not blushing, he's just in panic mode. As he is about to leave, she tugs at his sleeve, proclaiming that she prefers the bashful tomato-faced kinda guys. Immediately, he puts the brakes on his feet and turns around. Yeah, she definitely likes her drama extra spicy. She clarifies that as a woman, she adores men who are flirty while putting in a lot of effort, and according to her, this is the true meaning of youth. Is flirting what we're calling surviving now? He bows in front of her out of sheer respect and realizes that now she is talking like a real person. Still, he announces his departure and warns her not to drink in abundance afterwards. It's like talking to a totally different person after 2 drinks. The next morning, a groggy Asami wakes up to the alarm and has a terrible hangover. She looks at herself in disbelief at being dressed like a joker. Oh no, not the costume from last night. She decides to speed up to get to work on time. She gets another shocker when she sees that insane picture of an effeminate Hajime and herself on her phone titled 7 Things to Do That Day. Oh, this one is me. But who is the pastry guy? In no time, she reaches Hajime's place, wailing that she has committed a folly once again. That's one way to wake up to reality, facing your own embarrassing photos. One day, when Hajime is having dinner with his university friends, one of them points at his bag and wonders whether it is new. Hajime affirms that, as he thought it was time to buy a new one. His friend really likes it and inquires about the place where he bought it. The bag got more compliments than Hajime's haircut. Tragic. He casually mentions that it is very cheap, and then informs them that it is getting pretty late. His friends quickly spring up since he has his first period in the morning. Soon he sees them off and walks down the road elated at the thought that his friend Ryoku complimented him. Bro walked home like he just won a fashion award. He feels that getting compliments from city people hypes him up, and that only indicates his inferiority complex. College classes had already started, and Hajime began to gel in with his new friends. That night, on his way back home, he collides with his new neighbor in a pretty dramatic way. Anime moment unlocked. Accidental crash with hot neighbor. Now he wasn't expecting to meet her like that, but it is very difficult for him to call out to an unpredictable lady like her. For once, he thinks of the possibility of ignoring her and going home, but then decides to greet her. Before he can make up his mind, she turns around and addresses her. Too late, bro, stealth mode failed. She is curious about whether he is returning home this late. He sheepishly explains that he went out on a dinner date with his friends. Next, he questions her whether she has been working overtime. Plot twist. She's not working, she's just built differently. She clarifies that she just stayed up late to take care of trivial stuff like company complaints. He guesses that it might have been quite stressful for her, so she lets out a long, distressful sigh. He notices her flushed face, and then she announces that she is going home. Flushed face equals danger level 99. Abort mission. But to his bafflement, she enters a strange place, possibly a bar. She casually denies it and wonders whether he didn't get the joke. A more puzzled Hajime figures out that she has been drinking again, due to her intensely flushed face. Girl walks into a bar, denies walking into a bar. Classic. She strongly denies his accusation, claiming that she can never get banged up in public. But he knows that she is fibbing and that she is definitely boozed up. He even spots a bottle of that sacred liquid in her hand. It's not alcohol, it's grape juice for adults. But she hysterically denies it and claims that it is the heat. He observes that she isn't talking in Kansai dialect, but her face surely appears flushed. Then he realizes that she doesn't want to appear wasted in public. Step 1. Deny. Step 2. Deny harder. Step 3. Oops, drunk? Next, she urges him to walk home. He tries to stop her from breaking Jen-san's cable. To his horror, a crowd begins to gather around them, watching them suspiciously. Congratulations, Hajime, you're in a live drama. No script. An anxious Hajime knows that he has to stop her before she makes a fool of herself. In no time, he gives her a piggyback ride home, but he can feel her pressing against his body. He tries his level best to shun off those nonsensical thoughts. Thoughts. Not holy. Situation. Very cursed. He recalls his reasonable rent of 30,000 yen and realizes that he has to look out for her no matter what. As his home gets nearer and nearer, the more he feels uncomfortable about giving an adult a piggyback ride home. He knows that she drinks too much, but still he doesn't find her pathetic, as he is certain that she is trying her best to cut down her alcohol intake. Helping drunk neighbors, the ultimate tenant clause. Unexpectedly, she calls out to him, and he guesses that she might be feeling abashed as well, so he quickly paces up towards home. Suddenly, he feels something dripping on his neck and assumes that she might be crying. To his horror, she throws up on him, especially soiling his brand new bag. Cue sad violin for the fallen bag. Rest in puke. Poor Hajime is in a fix by looking at his beautiful new bag getting ruined. The next day, his bag can be seen hanging on the clothesline. Last night he brought it home in a plastic bag, and despite washing it, it is all wrinkled and smelly. Bag went from Gucci to garbage real quick. He decides to throw it away since it has become useless now. Suddenly, Asami pokes her head out wondering about him washing his new bag and figures out that this might be related to her. He quickly tries to cover up the situation, but she knows that he is lying since it reeks of vomit. You can lie, Hajime, but the smell snitches. As usual, she apologizes to him for ruining his new bag. He assures her that it is okay since it wasn't that costly anyway, but she is too embarrassed and insists on paying him back. He instantly refuses her offer. Pride says no while it says yes. She inquires about his schedule for next Sunday and wonders whether he will be coming with her to buy a new bag for him. Hajime is as shocked as ever. Plot twist. Puke leads to a shopping date. Romance unlocked. Although he is taken aback by that sudden invitation, he agrees anyway. Still, he feels awkward about letting her pay for his bag. She seems so stern and cold that he finds it really hard to refuse her. Bro out here scared of a wallet more than horror movies. Still, he runs his horses to figure out any good excuses. But by Sunday, he is a nervous wreck since he hasn't been able to sleep well due to overthinking. He suddenly has this urge to tell her that his smelly bag is fine. Sleep-deprived, overthinking, and still broke. Peak student mode unlocked. Then he decides that he will not go out that day at all, and then she wouldn't have to pay for anything. But like a bolt from the blue, she appears, wondering whether she is late. The lad is too mesmerized by her beauty to refuse her offer. He forgot his excuses the moment she blinked. Classic. He robotically follows her, but condemns himself secretly for being such a cheapskate. He hasn't even dressed appropriately because originally he was planning to refuse her, and he looks like a dullard due to less sleep. Honey looks like a sleep-deprived potato with anxiety sprinkles. He doesn't want to walk by the epitome of beauty looking like that, so he walks behind her. To his astonishment, she informs him that they have already arrived at the store, as he wasn't expecting a bag store nearby. Yeah, but you don't get your bag puked on every day, right? She explains that it is a veteran store that deals with calfskin. She claims that the aged leather is amazing here. He goes bonkers when she rejects an exotic leather bag, claiming that it is not good enough. She treats luxury bags like expired yogurt. He tries to convince her that he is not made for such pricey bags, but she ignores him and drags him along towards the next store via the next train. Over there, they check numerous bags, but none fit her high standards. She's out here shopping like it's a fashion-based survival game. She quickly urges him to hop towards the next store despite his pleas. In fact, she is so agile that the poor lad has difficulty catching up with her, let alone stopping her. But this time, he is already worn out due to a lack of sleep and energy. She's speed-walking like a bullet train. He's on 2% battery. Before he can stop her, she has already picked up a stylish bag for him and puts it on his back despite his dissuasion. She checks it thoroughly, and a jittery Hajime fears that she might make the whole payment for it. He is compelled to pay from his own pocket when, to his immense shock, the shopkeeper announces the whopping price of the bag, which is 75,900 yen. That bag's price tag just caused his soul to do backflips. She is all set to make a cash payment when he dashes forward and tries to stop her. His sudden outburst takes her aback since the bag looks amazing on him. He cries manically while tightly holding the wallet, which he is not worthy of spending 70,000 on, holding that wallet like it's the last slice of pizza. He accidentally drops her wallet on the ground. He apologizes to her while picking it up and finds a loose sheet of paper that slipped out of it. He is surprised to learn that Asami has actually created a whole memo of that day's schedule that includes stores to visit and the whole itinerary with a timeline. She planned the day better than most weddings. He is touched that she actually took pains to do all that research for him. She sheepishly apologizes to him for planning on her own, but she just wanted to behave appropriately for that day, despite being a jerk all the time. From menace to sweetheart in just 75,900 yen. Hajime is flabbergasted to learn that even she can appear embarrassed, and doesn't feel worthy of her endeavors. He requests that she not pay for the bag anymore because the way she has treated him is more important. She is stunned at his words and realizes what a nice person he is. Someone get this boy a gold medal for emotional maturity. Next, he decides to rush home, so she insists on having her buy coffee for him. But he frantically refuses. Later, while cooking dinner at his place, he recalls all the fun moments that had happened that day. Out of a sudden, he hears a loud clunking sound on the door. Plot twist incoming. It's either a gift or a flying cockroach. He quickly rushes towards it and finds a bag hanging from the door handle. He is startled to find a stylish key case in the bag and guesses that it might be from Kuroki-san. He is overwhelmed that despite his discouragement, she won't listen at all. She shops like Cupid with a credit card. He recalls that she might have bought it when he went for a restroom trip during their day out. To his amazement, he even finds a handwritten letter encased in a beautiful envelope from her. Inside, she has thanked him for being patient with her and apologized for being a troublemaker. Somewhere, Shakespeare just shed a tear. In the end, she asked him to use the key case, and Hajime was moved by her gesture. He had always seen her as cold and indifferent. Quite emotionally, he vows that he will always worship her gift and will use it with great care. Rose about to build a shrine for a keychain. Respect. Some people are having a conversation in which a young girl informs her friends about her moving out because her boyfriend cheated on her. She even mentions decorating her new house for a change of pace and excitedly displays its pictures. However, she is a little apprehensive about her neighbor being a man, and she hasn't encountered him yet. Plot twist. Her new neighbor might be hot, or just really into anime figurines. Her friends assure her of having her back whenever she needs help. Meanwhile, Hajime has just reached home, and having a key case makes him feel like a grown-up. He grins merrily as he recalls Asami's words about how he is always ready to help her out. The power of a keychain, unlocking maturity one jingle at a time. He feels more energetic and decides to take the stairs to his room instead of the elevator. He finally reaches the 5th floor completely unexhausted. However, a shocking surprise is waiting for him by the door, as he finds a completely disheveled and boozed-up Asami sitting on the floor in a questionable position and carrying an enormous bottle. Gym workout? Nah, try dodging drunk neighbors on the 5th floor. Without saying anything, he shuts his door in her face and then shudders in terror on being landed in an eerie situation again. That moment you realize your neighbor is the final boss of bad timing. He is alarmed at her panting heavily on the corridor floor, and she even appears cheesy. Slowly the door opens and a giggly and wobbly Asami calls out to him. The lad is already in a stupor, and is more electrified when she offers him to muscle train with her, because nothing says fitness like surprise weightlifting with a wine bottle. Suddenly, relief flows into his body as he realizes that she has been exercising all that time. The anxious lad has been imagining some real cheesy stuff about it, but of course he cannot possibly tell her that. His brain, gym, his hormones, Netflix, and cringe. But she anxiously reads his mind that a middle-aged woman like her is too old to exercise. Another explosive is bombarded on him upon learning that Asami is at quite a ripe age. She accuses him of being just like Azato, thinking of her as a mere court lady. Court lady? Sis came from the medieval era straight to happy hour. Poor Hajime feels that he has landed in hot water for nothing. She keeps on wailing about that awful Azato who ruthlessly uninvited Asami to the welcome party for new employees, due to her mature age. HR really said, "You're seasoned, not welcome." At present, she loses her cool as well as her marbles as she recalls the way Azato has slain her. He sighs on learning the fresh reason for being banged up, and even tries to recall Azato. So armor can't save you from social murder. He suddenly remembers the young girl who had a lovey-dovey memorial service at the Mouseland with her date. In sheer fury, she slams down the bottle on the table, claiming that age is just a number, and by heart, she is still 17. 17 and 70% proof vodka. Quite amusingly, he ponders that those divine words came from a drunkard's mouth who had just chugged in a 5-liter bottle of booze. He understands that poor Asami is getting bugged by that Azato a lot, but this time he is prepared to handle an even wilder Asami. Her liver deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. He is alarmed when she climbs up the top of the door and begins swinging it. He frantically tries to stop her, but quite insanely, she remarks that one can only do that when they are young at heart. The drunk acrobat edition begins. Panic-strickenly, he tries to reason that a 17-year-old will never pull a stunt like that. He begs her to come down since she has put herself in a hazardous position. She should be sent to a high school to learn the sacred rules of cringe. With a goofy smile, she reveals that she cannot come down. Terrified, he observes that she has reached quite the top, and now he has to help her get down. Mission: Impossible Drunk Edition. He tries to measure the distance and angles from which he can help her, but every angle seems kinda sleazy. Quite abashed, he suggests she get down since, from every angle, he can see her huge rice cakes. Geometry was not supposed to be this traumatizing. Quite shakily, she explains that the door is hurting her when she tries to do so. When she begins to sob uncontrollably, he decides to put all his shame aside as it is time to gear up to save the damsel in distress. Damsel, distressed. Hero, depressed. The letter flashes in his mind, reminding him that he is her caretaker after all. He instructs her to move back a little so that he can catch her while she falls. When she expresses her apprehension, he assures her that he won't let her get hurt. This is either romantic or a chiropractor's nightmare. His overconfidence is completely shattered as a huge bomb drops on his face, nearly squashing it. It appears that she has already jumped from the top, landing neatly on him. The poor lad is immobile with his head spiraling like a wheel, but at least he kept his word. He just got hit with love, and 140 pounds of regret. Out of the blue, a young woman appears in the corridor and apologizes as she has accidentally barged into their private moment. A humiliated Hajime cannot believe that he can be caught like this, or knocked out like this. It is revealed that she is the same young woman who was mentioned earlier, and who had doubts about her male neighbor. However, she is thunderstruck to see Asami, and it seems as if she knows her very well. The plot thickens like hangover soup. Now this comes as a blow for Hajime, being found like this by Asami's acquaintance. She addresses the young lady as Azato and wonders about her presence in that vicinity. Drama alert. The ex-frenemies have entered the group chat. Azato reveals that she just moved here, and in this way, Hajime discovers the infamous Azato. Azato mentions that she lives in room 501. Hajime realizes that her room is just beside his. In fact, he is sandwiched between Azato's and Kuroki-san's rooms. Bros the cream filling and a chaos Oreo. He observes her carefully and discovers her perfectly done face in youthful fashion. He unconsciously compares her with Asami and concludes that if Asami is the gorgeous type, then Azato is the cute one. Now Azato has always thought of Asami being the cool one, but never thought of her as the more daring type. She's not just cool, she's Ice Bucket Challenge cool. A perplexed Asami finally checks out her disheveled self and finds her dare-to-bear clothes and questionable sitting position over poor Hajime. She abruptly springs up on the side, frantically apologizing to him. She unconsciously covers her chest with her arms, condemning her own actions. Girls doing yoga poses called shame twist and upasana. Meanwhile, he has been closely watching her and guesses that the sudden appearance of Azato sobered her up, and as usual, her memory is getting wiped off. He quickly chips in explaining that he saw Asami fixing the door earlier, so he decided to help her, and this is when he lost his balance. Azato nods sarcastically and then gazes at him with interest. That sarcasm had more spice than a midnight ramen. She thinks Hajime is very sweet, and then suddenly addresses him as Mr. Boyfriend. Poor Hajime is rolled over by a bulldozer on her acrid remark, because he is certain that he cleared the misunderstanding. But a stoic Asami calls out her and clearly declares that Hajime is not her boyfriend. Man got rejected like a free sample on a diet. Hajime is struck out on Asami's flat rejection. He crouches on the floor in sheer dejection because no matter what, her blunt declaration knocked him out. Next, she introduces him as a first-year college student who moved in that year. Bro's GPA just dropped from emotional damage. Azato is somewhat abashed and sheepishly proclaims the obvious that Asami will not be dating a younger man. She reveals the bittersweet reality that despite appearing young and beautiful, Asami is still 27-year-old. The silent spectator Hajime notices that Asami is about to explode in fury. Warning: Volcano Asami is now active. He thinks Azato loves looking for trouble, but still he feels that a 9-year-old gap is a lot since he is only 18 years old. Next, a chirpy Azato reintroduces herself to him, and then they exchange pleasantries with a casual handshake. While looking dreamily into his eyes, Azato refuses to let go of his hand. "Ma'am, this is a handshake, not a marriage proposal." She even exclaims that his hands are so huge. Hajime senses trouble brewing from her side, but she keeps on blabbering about his hands. He cannot help but notice her hands are white and smooth as snow, and fragrant like roses. It's a hand commercial up in here. Next, she fumbles with his arms, and is surprised to see them so chiseled. He nervously explains that he was a farmer back home, But she doesn't stop there and keeps on fumbling his arms further upward. Bro came to the city for college, but got drafted to the flirting Olympics. She keeps on flattering him about his brusque appearance and his cute glasses, which makes him as frightened as a church mouse. He gets overwhelmed by her over-friendliness since they just met. She plucks off his glasses and then places them on her own face, questioning him about her appearance. The girl's doing cosplay as his girlfriend already. Out of the blue, Asami chips in, pulls off the glasses from her face. She curtly reminds her about her morning shift the next day and instructs her to take some rest. She is about to protest, but Asami yells at her that she hasn't submitted her moving papers yet and that she also has to handle the transportation expenses. Asami out here managing HR, security, and vibe control. She urges her to notify the office the next day, as shaken Azato flees from the scene. Next, she addresses Hajime and quizzes him about blushing so furiously. Bro's face is like a tomato in microwave. A baffled Hajime is unable to understand her stern expression. Still, she expresses her gratitude to him for helping her when she was drunk. Hajime is completely clueless about what she is feeling since it is the first time she has had that facial expression. Emotional subtitles not included. Very aloofly, she declares that she won't come in his way if he likes girls like Azato. However, she warns him that she has a voracious appetite for men. Unexpectedly, Azato pops her head out of the door and calls out to him. He quickly rushes to her, and she sheepishly informs him that she might get loud during the night, so if he is disturbed, he must tell her. Poor Hajime is in the pits on learning that queer expression loud at night. Bro's sleep schedule just filed for bankruptcy. It appears that Azato-san has invited both her neighbors Kuroki-san and Hajime to her moving party. Both are puzzled about this sudden invitation. Earlier, she had told both of them to meet at her place in 5 minutes with the food. The girl speedran friendship to potluck mode. His eyes dazzle on seeing the spick and span room of Azato. He wonders whether she has done all those pretty decorations for the party. He observes that, unlike Asami's elegant decor, Azato's room is more princess-like. Someone clearly binge-watched Disney Channel. He cannot believe that he actually brought fried eggplant to her party. He is rather ashamed about it, but this is the only thing he can prepare on short notice. Asami encourages him that at least he cooked that by himself and that he shouldn't worry about it. Chef Hajime to star in Desperate Dishes. She is really mad at Azato for inviting them so suddenly, and then insisted even when she flatly refused. For this reason, she has brought nothing but drinks to the party. Azato is stunned to discover that she has brought nothing but water. Yep, to stay hydrated and hella hostile. She offers some drinks to her, but Asami refuses. Azato insists she has some drinks. Instantly, Hajime explains that it's better if she doesn't force her. Secretly, he has planned not to reveal Asami's drunken side to Azato. Protecting the beast within, Azato is slightly disappointed, and to lure her boss, places several huge bottles of alcohol in front of her. Hajime is shocked to the core on learning that even she is a die-hard drunkard. He inquires about the type of wine she is offering, to which she expresses her ignorance since it was gifted by a friend. In other words, I drink first and never ask questions. However, Asami instantly recognizes the premium standard booze offered by Azato, which is not available on sale. Later, Azato lauds his cooking and states that boys who can cook are so reliable. Next, she remarks that food goes really well with premium quality wine, and then he notices that she is giving side glances to Asami. Something's brewing really bad. He wonders whether she is trying to lure her towards alcohol. Asami weakly protests that food also goes well with tea. Azato tries a new trick by wailing that she cannot drink the whole lot and asks him whether he needs it for cooking. Instantly, Asami loses her senses and tells her to wait. Quite hesitantly, she agrees that the whole lot of good wine will go to waste and that she would love to have some. Hajime anxiously confirms with her whether she really wants to. She does. And the wine's not ready for it. She assures him confidently that she won't get drunk that easily. Soon, the conversation drifts towards the origins of the rice from which the premium wine is made. Asami claims that she can actually taste the climate of the region and the heart of the brewer in the wine. Ma'am, it's wine, not Google Earth. She keeps on yapping about the rice and greatness of the wine, and Hajime is certain that now she is losing it. He whispers in her ears to stop as she clearly seems to be on the brink, but she denies and keeps on talking gibberish in a slurry tongue, and the rice just became her soulmate. The gal is so high that at some point she considers herself the group of Japanese islands, and from there she can see several lakes. A distressed Hajime urges her to hide her dark side from Azato. To his misery, Azato-san drops onto his lap, claiming the special seat. This man's knees carry heaven. Poor Hajime is in a fix since even Azato is completely boozed up and is trying to cuddle up with him. An electrified Hajime tries to escape, only to be grabbed again by Azato, who is using him to support her wobbly self. He screams at her to use the sofa instead. Sofa, the unsung hero in this love triangle. He tries to find the silver lining that if she is that drunk, then she might forget about a drunk Asami as well. But the situation has gotten out of hand as both girls are dead drunk, driving him crazy. Still, he manages to grab the bottles and tries to put them away only to be followed by an eager Asami. This dude just unlocked the babysitter's side quest. Suddenly, she trips over something and bangs her head on a table. A terrified Hajime turns around, wondering about her well-being, and is relieved to find her snoring. He informs Azato that soon he will be taking Asami back home after he is done with cleaning. Bro became maid, medic, and moral support in 10 Men's. Azato pounces on him to his alarm, so he advises her to take some rest due to her tipsy state. A flushed Azato reveals that she is not drunk at all and wants to spend more time with him since they are now alone. She activated the final boss flirt mode. She quickly wraps her arms around his waist, and a deadbeat Hajime is confused whether she is drunk or sober. He recalls the other day when she had especially mentioned that her being noisy at night. He freaks out on the probability of Azato seducing him. He's freaking out as if Azato is a man-eating tigress. Next, she tries to be dangerously close to him, knocking him out of his socks. Poor Hajime is completely paralyzed as he is saving his first kiss for someone he likes. Still, he manages to shove her away, stuttering nervously that he is feeling sick. First kiss still wrapped in the box. Handle with care. Unconsciously, he moves backwards and hits the bookshelf despite Azato's warning. Suddenly, the books clatter on the ground, having weird titles, all related to methods of attracting men. A confused Hajime stares at them in disbelief. These books came with side effects. Use responsibly. Azato catches him gazing at them and regrets placing them on the shelf. She wonders why he was running away from her like crazy. She seems a little bizarre to him at that moment. Nevertheless, he apologizes to her for dropping her books. It's all fun and games till the bookshelf exposes you. Azato sighs and claims that she knows virgins are cowards. Her remark hits him like a brick, and he is curious about how she knew him so well. She reveals that it would have been a lot convenient if her next-door neighbor had fallen in love with her. Cupid needs a GPS. He's clearly lost. He feels used like a tissue paper and is puzzled whether Azato is showing her true colors right now. She mentions to him that being cute is very convenient, since she is always forgiven no matter what she does. Also, being innocent-looking, she always gets special treatment from others. Cute privilege is real. She reveals that she herself has chosen to be cute since humans are bound to be unfair. Hajime jumps out of his skin in sheer terror, but then Azato begins giggling at his reaction. He frantically tells her to stop pulling his leg. This isn't flirting, it's emotional judo. Next, she points at Asami that even though she remains simple, still everyone adores her and respects her. This makes her uncomfortable as she feels this is not fair, and for this reason she keeps on messing with her. After telling her story, she forces him to reveal his side. Tea has been spilled. Now it's his turn. When he expresses his bafflement, she reveals that she arranged this party just to get to know him better. She wants to know the thing cooking between Asami and himself, and that she knows that they both are very close to each other. She declares that they are not normal neighbors and that she cannot be kept in the dark anymore. Girls got detective mode switched to hardcore. He tries to deny her allegations, but then uncovers the whole story that started when he first came to this neighborhood. Azato is shocked to learn that he is Asami's caretaker. She cannot believe that Asami cannot handle being a boozer. Asami's liver filed a complaint. She chuckles and feels sorry for his condition. But he is very humble about the whole situation. Unexpectedly, a groggy Asami wakes up, asking for some water. System rebooting. Please wait. He quickly rushes towards her, wondering whether she can hold the glass. Azato watches in awe as he helps her straighten up and then makes her drink water. Azato now realizes the true relationship between them. She makes a mind-blowing statement that she feels he really likes her. Her remark makes him jump so badly that he spills the water from the glass while Asami's head bangs on the table. Azato doesn't stop here and guesses that he is trying very hard despite the huge age difference. That's not a love triangle, it's a geometry crisis. Hajime becomes a nervous wreck trying to deny her allegations and then apologizing to Asami for being so careless. Although he is in a state of complete denial, a sharp Azato doesn't believe him at all. But then it dawns on her that maybe he is not even aware of his own true feelings. The story has more layers than an onion. Still, Kuroki-san is a hardworking manager, while he is a cute young college boy, and to Azato their relationship seems next level interesting. Ever since Azato learned about Senpei's dark secret, she keeps on badgering her about her hardcore drinking habits. Because of this, she always seems to be exhausted in the morning. Hajime is really very concerned about her. Bro's turning into a therapist with zero pay. Suddenly, Auntie appears holding an envelope for him. To his surprise, it is an invitation to a famous inn that has a long waiting line for reservations. She explains that she was about to go with her friend, but had to cancel at the last minute. Auntie's now a travel agent. He guesses that she wants him to give it to Asami, so she clarifies that the envelope has 2 passes, and she wants him to go with Asami as a caretaker. Poor Hajime is splashed with ice-cold water, since he can never have a sleepover with Asami. But Auntie is not threatened by a sweet country virgin. Auntie, professional guilt tripper. Auntie lures him further by mentioning the hot spring and delicious food. She urges him to help Asami relax. When he tries to protest, she warns him that she raised the rent to 70,000 yen last month, and if he refuses, then he won't be given any discounts. This ain't a trip, it's blackmail with snacks. Poor Hajime feels manipulated, as he cannot afford that kind of raise due to his poor financial condition. Soon, the day of departure arrives, and he is standing at the train station. He has been assured by an apologetic Asami that she will cut down on booze so that he can relax. Lies were told, hope was given, booze was packed. Still, he is jittery about staying together with Asami, and he begins to have cheesy thoughts about her. He manages to shrug them off and focuses on his job to keep her away from trouble. To his dismay, he discovers that she has already broken the promise and has been chugging heavily. Girl said detox, but meant double shots. A tearful Asami reveals how tiresome it was to get rid of work and employees, and that's why she has been trying to hide. Soon, it is time to get on the train, and it is then that she realizes that she has misplaced the ticket. Quite hysterically, he asks her to check the purse, but she mentions she has already done that. Classic, check the bag, lose your sanity. The train is just 10 minutes away, so quite wildly they begin to rummage through her luggage. He freaks out because the drunken lady is tossing her stuff roughly around on the passageway. The poor lad is even forced to search through the pockets where she keeps her personal stuff. To his horror, she begins to strip off, thinking that the ticket might have slipped off inside. Distressfully, he tells her to stop and then thankfully spots the ticket on the side flap of her purse. Soon they arrive at their destination, and poor Hajime is exhausted looking after the drunk and frolicking Asami up to her eccentric tactics. He needs a vacation from this vacation. He plans to send her to the room to rest and then enjoy the luxuries of the inn. He is wide-eyed in awe on seeing a super luxurious suite for 2 having an open bath. Suddenly, it strikes him that he has been ushered into a couple's room where they will be staying for a night. Hotel. Romance package. Hajime panics in a virgin.